returning, Mr. Kevin Amolsch. If you have not seen the other episode, go check it out. I believe it's episode 271. Please go check it out. It's a good episode. We talk about a lot of bank financing and the financial side of real estate. I believe the episode is called Get Your Money Out of Wall Street into Main Street. So please go check it out. Today, we're doing a deal breakdown. Kevin, what is your cool, interesting story?
Yeah, Daniel, first of all, I want to say thank you so much for bringing me back on. I had such a great time with that first podcast we did together. So I appreciate you bringing me back on. So the story, we talked a lot about financing and the last one. So this one doesn't really have to do with financing, but it's a really fun strategy that I used and implemented to buy a mountain house for my own family to use in Summit County in Colorado. So it's a great location right on the lake on Lake Dillon in Dillon. And the way I found this was the trustee. So we're a deed of trust state, which just means that the foreclosure process is through advertisement, and then the trustee of the county can auction the property off and to the highest bidder, and then that could pay off the lender. If there is no higher bidders, the lender gets the property back. So that's kind of how the process on the foreclosure works with a deed of trust state and a trustee. But they publish all of this, right? So I found this property on the trustee's website. And so I knew it was headed into foreclosure. And I did an O&E, owners and encumbrance report. So I wanted to know who owned it, what other liens were in place. I'm trying to figure out what position was foreclosing and how much we could expect for a bid amount and that kind of thing. And what I found was there's a I'm rounding here, $220,000 first mortgage from Wells Fargo. That was the one that was foreclosing. So it was a first mortgage foreclosure. Behind that was a line of credit for $175,000. At least that's what the maximum allowable credit is. A line of credit could be kind of anything. It's like a credit card. You could use it, pay it down, use it, pay it down. So we didn't really know the amount of the debt, but we knew it was recorded for $175,000. And then get this, Daniel,
I already love where the story is going because I already know where you're going with this. And I mentioned this on Twitter, but I'm so glad you're covering this. This is such an amazing story. I haven't even heard it.
It's so fun.
Okay, go ahead. I don't want to interrupt you anymore.
So there's a third position lien on the property, but this is a judgment. So a judgment would be there was a lawsuit between two parties, and the winner of it gets a judgment, and then they recorded it against the property. The judgment, Daniel, was $64 million. Huge number. And so I'm like, well, there's no redemption rights here because of the way the foreclosure process works is the first forecloses, then the second has 8 days they could redeem, which means pay off the first, and then they get the house. If there's someone behind them, then they have 8 days after that, and they can pay off the first and the second, and then they would get the house. And it just kind of goes all the way in the order. Colorado has no owner redemption rights. So once it goes to auction, the owner's out. So here we are, $64 million judgment. I'm like, well, maybe I could just rent their redemption rights or buy their redemption rights, or maybe we could partner because I want the house. So I wanted to get into that third position, $64 million. Even if there was any other liens, it doesn't matter because no one's going to redeem a $64 million judgment. Yeah. So that's where I guess in the pecking order, that judgment is where it was all going to end. So that's what was super important to me. So we ended up calling the attorney for the judgment holder, found out it was a $5 million judgment from years ago that just was accruing interest and fees and penalties and all of this. Yeah. Now it's $64 million, but the lawsuit was $5 million. We said, that's too much. Can we lease the rights? Like we want the property. And he said, why don't you just buy the judgment? And we said, well, okay, we take $80,000 and dude, no negotiation. They said yes. They didn't even negotiate. So we wrote it up. I was like, let's get this under contract right now. So we got a $64 million judgment under contract for $80,000.
This show is sponsored by HiveMind CRM. It is more than just a CRM. It is a real estate and business mastermind that comes with an all-in-one CRM. You can have unlimited websites and users. You can call, text, RVM, and email all in one user interface. And you can set up custom automations for any type and multiple businesses. 65% of companies start using a CRM system within the first 5 years of business. Once implemented, the HiveMind will save you on marketing, give you more time, and make more money. One of our users had his first $100,000 month using our system in June. We want to see you automate and accelerate your business. Text us at 210-972-1842 for future meetings and, of course, to get our $1 course on how to make more than 6 figures on one land deal. You can schedule your free demo today at HiveMindCRM.io.
Now, that sounds crazy. I'm never going to get the $64 million, right? There's no value in that judgment because the debtor is not collectible. You can't get it.
Yeah.
But it did put me in the position to read. So I was like,
Mhm.
dude, home run. It's about a $1.4 million property, maybe a little bit more. 221st, 175 my investment of 80 grand. That's the order. Well, it turns out the guy didn't let it go to foreclosure. He brought up all the back payments with Wells Fargo. So now it's not in foreclosure. They call it curing. He cured the loan. He didn't even know I owned this judgment. So
Mhm.
then now my strategy is blown up. I can't redeem because there's no foreclosure. So now
Yep.
I have to foreclose from a judgment in a third position. So we start the foreclosure process. We start negotiating with the owner. There's homestead rights. Now you waive homestead rights when you sign a mortgage or a deed of trust, which just basically means the government's going to protect a certain amount of your equity. And so I had no waiver there. So I had to pay him his homestead rights, which was 105,000. So now the 221st, 175 second, 105 homestead, and then I can get the property. Good news is he did decide to negotiate with me. He tried to defend the foreclosure. It did not work. He deeded me the house for the $105,000 homestead if I agreed to forgive the $64 million judgment, which is exactly what I was going to do anyway. I'm never going to collect on that. So I forgave the judgment and we ended up getting the house deeded to us. One little cherry on top here though, when I go to get the payoffs for all the lenders, that line of credit was only about 50 grand drawn on. So $175,000 line of credit. He actually only owed 50. So pretty sweetheart deal. We totally remodeled the entire thing. And now we're in a beautiful vacation home in Summit County for under 600,000. It's worth more than twice that. And it's just because we were looking for a deal, right? We looked at the trustees website and we were creative with how we're going to acquire it. So how is that for a deal for your show, Daniel?
Amazing. Okay. So
there's a lot to unpack there. I know it.
No, it's you structured it perfectly. So like on Twitter, literally 2 weeks ago, somebody posted on Twitter there was $200 million going to auction, and I tweeted there's a place to get those deals cheaper than what they're going at auction, and people were like dumbfounded, and I'm like, I'm not answering this question.
Yeah,
I'm not going to answer this. Like,
don't let it go to auction. That's right.
Don't let it go to auction. That's you can pick it up before it goes to auction. And one is talking to the seller, but the other option is hitting the lien holder in the judgments.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that. You know that, but the world doesn't know that. So for everybody listening to this episode, you got keys to $1 million problem, probably $1 billion problem. And all you got to do is pay attention to the judgments and find good property that the judgments are cheaper than what the property is worth. And you can come into a windfall of cheap property just by doing extra work.
Yeah, if you see anything that's a little out of the ordinary, call someone to help you.
Right? That is an amazing story. I did not expect this story to come up in this, but I'm so glad it did. This is perfection right there. That is such an amazing story. Congratulations on your dream house, probably.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I love
in the mountains that you
and we're using it. We're going to rent it out in the summer because our kids are in like soccer and lacrosse, and we're in tournaments every weekend. But in the winter, we're up there every weekend.
I'm gonna have to. Can I stay in there?
Sure, come on.
I'm invited. I'm passing through Denver in May. I need a couple weeks.
Yeah, email me. We'll get that set up.
This is so amazing. I love real estate. I love podcasting. I love everything that contributes to this amazing story. That is, Kevin, thank you so much for that story. Like, as soon as I'm like, he's going where I think he's going. This is amazing. It's priceless. Priceless. Real estate is such a fascinating asset class, and I hope you learn more about it daily. I hope you learned a lot from this episode. Thank you, Kevin, for sharing that story with me. I am so glad you did. I think there'll be a lot of people that are happy you did too, but that is so cool, man. Where can people find you online? I got pinefinancialgroup.com.
Yeah. Thank you so much again, Daniel, for having me on. I had such a great time with you again, sharing that story. It's a fun story. I'm proud of that, and I like sharing that. So I appreciate you. People can find me at pinefinancialgroup.com. If you're interested in more stories like that or more strategies like that, how to buy properties, no money down, how to find deals that are not in the MLS, any of that, you can get all that information at YouTube, right? YouTube.com/Pine Financial.
There you go. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I know I did. Please go share with a friend. Please blow this episode up. I think it deserves it after this. I think everybody listening to this better share it with a friend, at least one person, because this is some good information out there that is 100% fact. 100% fact, factual information. So you're not getting it everywhere you go. So please go share it, subscribe, share it with a friend, leave a review, do all that stuff you know how to do. We'll see you on the next episode, guys. We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining in. We'll see you. Have a good day, guys.
Thanks for watching this YouTube video. We hope you found value. Please like, subscribe, and hit the bell to watch more videos just like this one.